What happens is you tend to fall behind your competitors, so you get really stagnant. The world changes and your business doesn't.
If you sub out the word child in any parenting course and an insert employee, it's still a great course, makes total sense.
Yet we own a business that has thousands and thousands, sometimes hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars going through it. And there's often no expectation that we should go and learn how to be a business owner. It's kind of crazy.
Because you can see the progress happening around you and you're wondering, why not me?
Yeah, it's like life's not fair, but it is kind of fair because those people are learning and you're not.
Oh, butt face.
Butt face, which is like people say things like, yeah, but, and they've got
and
like
you can see it on the face.
They've puckered up like they've sucked a lemon. Look, Daddy, I can jump headfirst off my bed now. What separates successful tradie and service business owners from the not so successful? Tune into today's episode where we discuss one key characteristic that the successful owners have that the not successful don't, and how to get better at this quickly and easily. Hi there, I'm Tony Fraser Jones, the host of the Profitable Tradie podcast, coming to you today with my good mate, Phil Smith. How you doing, my man?
Always good, always good. Feeling good, feeling great.
It's good, that's good. Let's get into it. What are we talking about today?
Mate, we are talking about learning and how important learning is to your success as a tradie business owner. So you probably started your business journey by learning your trade. So you have done this before. Obviously when you started, you knew nothing. So you spent 3, maybe 4 years maybe learning your trade, could be through tech or TAFE or at some kind of tertiary institute and being taught by your supervisors, right? And then you got into business for yourself, and for most, that part of it is like learning on the job. There's no tech, no TAFE, no course, no mentor to help you with what you do and what pitfalls to avoid. You kind of learn through the school of hard knocks.
You do, the old school of hard knocks. It's an expensive way to learn. And it's kind of funny when you think about it because people go to university and get a degree and pay lots of money with no guarantee of a job. Yet we own a business that has thousands and thousands, sometimes hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars going through it. And there's often no expectation that we should go and learn how to be a business owner.
Yeah.
We just tend to stumble through it, which is kind of crazy.
Oh, it's mental when you think about it.
Yeah. So what we're going to do today is actually dig into why active learning about how to run a business is so important for your success in business.
Awesome. And I'm sure you got a story to kick us off.
I do. I love this story. I've stolen it unashamedly from Stephen Covey, who is dead just now, but very, very smart guy.
Is he dead?
He is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but he's very, very wise. Anyway, it's the story of the two woodsmen who are tasked with cutting down trees, as many trees as they can in a day. And the first woodsman, big muscly guy, he's like, I'm going to smash this. And he just cuts feverishly, full on all day without taking any break. He cuts down a bunch of trees. Big effort. The second woodsman, he takes some breaks during the day. He spends a lot of time, he get his steel out and he sharpens the blade meticulously. And as a result, it looks like he's actually cutting down less trees. He's not working all the time. And he's not sweating as much either. But at the end of the day, they tally it up. And actually the second woodsman has cut down more trees than the first, despite working at a slower pace. And that's because he's actually taken some time to look at his efficiency, to improve the way he does things, to stay sharp. That's allowed him to actually get a better outcome. And really, the fact that he's sharpened his saw is about investing in himself. It's about, getting new skills and keeping the tools sharp. Now, sharpening the saw is kind of like learning in your business.
100%.
It makes you sharp, it makes you more effective, and ultimately gives you a better business.
Yeah, totally. And I think if we're not sharpening that saw, so to speak, and we're not committing to learning, we definitely have some issues.
We do. And what happens is you tend to fall behind your competitors. So you get really stagnant. The world changes and your business doesn't. It's like some people still have paper job cards, heaven forbid, like, that is madness. If you're doing that, you need to change.
Yeah.
It's all online. It's in the cloud now with job
some
management
people's schedule
systems.
is still a whiteboard.
Or worse, a paper diary.
Oh, gosh. Yeah.
Anyway.
Actually, good story. Do you remember the old receptionist from Coombe Smith, which for anyone that doesn't know, was a accountancy firm that shared the building with us? Do you remember her husband?
Yes.
Yeah, and he owned a trades business, and he had every single job, all his clients' information, everything, all in this one Bible of a black notebook that he had. Everything was in there, and at least 2 or 3 times while Coombe Smith was here, he'd put it on the top of his car and driven off and lost the whole thing.
Lost his business. Anywho, he's a nice guy though.
Great guy, but oh man, the felt for him, eh?
Yeah. So and you stagnate as a person. You actually can get quite complacent if you're not learning, and you miss out on opportunities. Your business stalls, and often what happens is you create a life rut because everything is same, except it's not. because everyone else is moving and you're not.
Yeah, which makes the rut more painful, right? Because you can see the progress happening around you and you're wondering, why not me?
Yeah, it's like life's not fair, but it is kind of fair because those people are learning and you're not.
That's it. And on the other hand, if we commit to learning, some pretty big upsides.
Yeah, so either you stay competitive with other businesses, you stay on the front foot, you got new opportunities, you understand those, you adapt to change, you make better decisions because you got better information and better tools. This is a big one. I think there's a sense of personal growth. So you actually get satisfaction of knowing that you've learned something, and that increases your confidence, which is huge. And your business grows and it improves.
Yeah. I mean, who doesn't want all of that?
Well,
pretty simple solution. So how do we do this?
Well, I mean, learning is a pretty simple concept, but I think it's actually quite a scientific thing. You know, like in nature, they talk about systems, and there's this principle called negative entropy, which is a fancy word, but basically what it means is if a system doesn't get new energy into it, if it's closed off, then that system just tends towards chaos and anarchy, and it basically falls to bits. And the process of negative entropy is getting new energy into your system. What this really means is that your business is a system, and if we don't learn new things, we don't get new energy into the business, it tends towards chaos.
Yeah.
You know, learning is the way we get new energy, learning and new people, which bring learning into our business. That gives our business a bunch more energy. And
100%.
that's massively important.
Yeah, I mean, like, think of your car, right? I mean, this happens all the time.
Yeah, like you start off with a full tank of gas, you drive, across the state or the country, and you pass a gas station, no problem, you're half full. Then you pass another one, you're a third left, no problem. If you're like me, like, hey, we'll get there. And then you pass another one, there's a quarter left, no problem, love, we've got it covered, don't stress out. And you keep driving, and what happens? Well, there's no more gas stations, the car stops, you're out of fuel. You've put no new inputs into that closed system. And that's like what happens to our business in our life if we stop learning. If we don't learn, the whole system breaks down.
Yeah, you run out of gas.
Run out of gas, pretty much.
Yeah, that's it. And without learning, I think the other thing is you're effectively like a prisoner of your own mind. So, if you always do what you've always done, then you'll always get what you always got, which is not really what you're after. Like, if you want to get new things, you need to be doing new things. And to do new things, you need to learn about new things so you know what to do. Otherwise, you can't create that future that you didn't know was possible because you didn't know it was possible. So it just all gets really difficult if you've not got new inputs.
Yeah, this is something that is huge for us with what we do at Profitable Tradie. Our vision, what really lights our fire, is to help you as a business owner to see a life and a future that you didn't actually know was possible.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of people come and talk to us, and some have got great businesses and just want to make them greater. But there's a lot who come who are struggling and just want to get back on want to get things back to a kind of a comfortable place.
Yeah, 100%.
But they come to our events and they see people who are making not $1 million in revenue, but making $1 million in profit, or who have a general manager running their business, or have a great team and they're able to take 2 or 3 months off, and they see that and they're like, flipping heck, is that actually a thing?
Yeah.
Like, I didn't actually believe that was possible.
Yeah, well, I think that's the thing is often, in the first few months of membership, our clients will be, just trying to fix the problem that's at hand, but definitely there's that switch that tends to happen. The more you learn, the more you see what's possible, the more you open your mind, then they think, what, actually, I do want some different stuff, and I do have some different goals, and often they come in, hey, I don't want to get massive, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that, and it's funny how often those guys end up having like pretty substantial businesses and doing some really amazing things. And I think it's super rewarding for us, but super rewarding for them.
But that's the key thing, and that's why it's so fun to see someone actually grow past what they ever believed was possible. And the root of that, the kind of the thing that germinates all of that, is learning.
Yeah.
Is actually getting new, fresh information into their brains.
Yeah.
And that expands your horizons. It makes your brain bigger, effectively.
Yeah.
And actually, once you start on that process, it's hard to put it back in the bottle as well, because you're like, oh, wow, I've learned this, and then I'll learn something else, and I'll, take example from other people who are further down the road, and it sort of just carries on.
Well, the more you learn, the more you realize you don't know. Which can be overwhelming, but it can be super exciting, honestly, because you're open to a whole new level of possibilities. I think about the story of the fish. So if you imagine, like, there are some fish that are right down the bottom of the ocean where it's pitch black and they don't even have eyes because they don't need them, because you'd never be able to see. There's no light down there. And imagine trying to explain to them the concept of sight and the concept of light and the concept of there being stuff that you can perceive in a different way. Like, this would be mind-boggling, but imagine if they suddenly got eyes and swam up a bit higher. Like, it would just be, whoa, look at all of this stuff around me, look at what I can do. And so really it's firstly being able to acquire those eyes, which is essentially learning, right?
Yeah, for sure. And not only does it expand what we see and believe is possible, and therefore what we can achieve, it's actually massive for your motivation and your satisfaction, your sense of accomplishment. I know for me personally, and we've coached thousands and thousands of people, so we just know this, is when you're struggling with any area of your life, whether it's business, relationships, being a parent, fitness, whatever it is, if you learn something in that area, it gives you a sense of hope, a sense of satisfaction, a sense of, actually, I can do better. There is better. I have some control over my environment because I can take some different action than what I was doing. Because when you're stuck, you tend to just recycle the same old stuff. Yeah. And often you just need a different perspective or someone to put, some fresh ideas in your head so you can do something different.
Yeah,
you think about, we've got 4 kids. The youngest is 5. And she's at that beautiful age where she does something and learns something. All she wants to do is come and show you. It's like, look, Daddy, I can jump headfirst off my bed now. It's like, okay. Look, Daddy, I can pull myself up on my bed with my sheets.
Yeah.
Look, Daddy, I can ride my my scooter down this hill.
George's favourite one is, look, Daddy, if I take your golf club, I can hit the top right off Mummy's roses. Which is not really a hit in our house at the moment. But he's learned something, I'll tell you that.
And they're so proud to show it. And actually, if you think about it, we never lose that. I know if I learn something new, I go home and I share it with Bronwyn. And normally I do it at a crazy time when she's busy with something and she kind of rolls her eyes. And I'm like, oh, I've done it again. But I can't help myself because I'm really excited and I just want to tell someone about what I've learned and get some affirmation from it as well.
Yeah, 100%. And I think the thing is, like, the type of learning is so important. Like, so often, business and leadership skills become more important as your business grows. And I think the thing is a lot of business owners that we see, let's say you're in a solar business, they'll go and they'll do courses on solar and how the industry is going. And it's actually been funny, like, the amount of guys who might be a plumber and they go and they're like, I want to, go and get my drainage ticket because there's a drainage department in my business. I don't know much about it. And I'm thinking, like, yeah, I mean, cool, but you also have a drainage operations manager and a lot of skilled drain layers. Like, that's beneficial, but your job now is to be a business owner. Like you're never going to go out and be a drain layer. You own a plumbing and drainage business, and it's funny how you'll go and do this course, and sure, it's beneficial, but what would be really beneficial is growing your business skills, your leadership skills, your financial understanding, your understanding of marketing and sales, like the things that are really going to be needed of you as the CEO. And so I think it's really, really important that we're investing in the learning that we need, which often is the learning we think of last because it's the least comfortable area. It's the stuff we don't know yet, right?
Yeah, and it's the stuff that is not going to burn our business down today.
That's it. It's probably less of a a pain point.
It's more of a medium-term thing that, if we don't do it today, it's not going to kill us.
Yeah.
But if you keep putting it off every day, you'll never get the business that you want or desire. I was on a coaching call yesterday with 4 business owners. We have some squads for our high-level boardroom group, and great bunch of guys, but one of them was having some issues with the operations people following up jobs and bids, quotes that they'd done, and at a total loss with what to do, burning a lot of money. And I simply said, have they been trained on how to use the scripts and how to do sales? No. It was like a light bulb moment.
Yeah.
A massive piece of learning.
Yeah.
That, if you're not putting yourself in the right environment, you won't get, which is worth potentially hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars to that business.
It's huge. And
so, learning the stuff about business is massively important.
Yeah, and I think we neglect it. And then I think, for that matter, it's like you said earlier, I mean, this applies to everything in life, right? Like, if you want a better marriage, like, there are places you can learn about how to have a better relationship. If you want to be a better parent, mum or a dad, there's learning you can do here. I mean, I've personally done some parenting courses. I know you have as well. And like, as a first thing, like, it makes you a much better parent. It makes you a better person. And lastly, little secret, if you sub out the word child in any parenting course and an insert employee, it's still a great course, makes total sense. But, even like for your health, if you want to improve, your physique or your fitness, you want to go to the gym, it's like, cool, well, do you know how to use all the machines? Do you know how to get the best out of your exercise? Have you talked to a personal trainer? Have you done any research? If I like to play golf on the weekend sometimes. I'm not very good at it. But if I wanted to be better, I could go and, have a few sessions with the golf pro, improve my swing, see what I'm doing wrong. If I wanted to lose weight, do I know anything about diets, or am I just like, hey, I think I'll eat less McDonald's? I mean, do some learning. You can speak to a dietitian, a nutritionist.
Give you an example of this from my life, around parenting. So I got, as I said, 4 kids from 17 at the moment down to 5 at the moment. If you're listening to this later, they might be older anyway. But having some issues with a couple of them, especially the older ones, about help trying to get them to do some stuff, and I would try and convince them, and I in my own mind thought that was what I needed to do, share the wisdom of my knowledge, particularly when they're having a hard time, and try and teach them how to fix the problem.
Yeah.
And I listened to a podcast on actually, I'm not sure it was a podcast or a book, doesn't matter, but the person said, hey, in those situations, don't try and fix the problem. All you need to do is actually acknowledge their emotions and help them label their emotions.
Yeah.
And if they're feeling upset, you say, hey, looks like you're feeling really upset and overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And so I started doing that, and it was incredible, completely changed the outcome. I didn't need to solve the problem with them. They felt heard. They felt like, I was providing them support. They could actually start fixing the problems themselves.
Totally.
A little bit of learning, change everything.
You never would have known that if you never put yourself open to being learning. And I think that's the big thing, is opening your mind to learning as a concept, and to the fact that you might not know stuff. It's quite a difficult hurdle to get over, but once you get over it, you're able to actually get so much more information in, which becomes incredibly useful. Yeah. And so I think that's huge.
And as Phil said, you can replace employee for child there. So if you're having discussions with your employees, label their emotions as well, even with your wife or your husband. It works amazing.
Honestly, parenting books and parenting audiobooks, parenting courses have been some of the best money I've ever spent, because the learnings are so applicable throughout all of life. It's really like how to deal with people. But hey, look, that's probably a topic for another day.
That's right.
Look, I think another thing is make it something that you really value. Like for us, this is our number one core value on our core values list.
Yeah.
Right.
So in our business, we have 5 core values, and the number one is learning. And like when we interview people to work here at Profitable Tradie, we go through and we assess this, and we ask them questions of tell us about something you've learnt recently. And if they can talk about something they've learnt, and some writers or authors or bloggers or whatever that we know, then we know they're a good fit. But if they say something like, oh, I read this blog on Facebook about blah, 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 and you say, oh, who wrote that? And they can't tell you, they ain't a learner.
Oh, mate, my favorite, by the way, if you're listening to this and you're thinking one day you want to work for PT, this is a cheat code, because this is a key question. We ask
that's fine. They'll be learning because they're listening to a podcast.
Yeah, we say, hey, tell us something you taught yourself recently, and people will be like, I saw a quote on Pinterest, and I'm like, oh, whatever. Whereas people say, hey, I was listening to this podcast, or I was reading this book, or I was checking out this guy's YouTube channel, and blah blah blah, and you can tell the difference, right? Like they actively learn. They're really looking for things. They'll tell you who they learned it from, where they learned it. They'll quote stuff. They'll have some backing behind it, or they'll say, I read this book, it said one thing. I read that book, it said another thing. But I think a synthesis of the two. It's different. You can tell.
They're excited about it, and
right.
You're in our team meetings, we share a learning every week. You have to share a learning about something you've learnt that's beneficial to the rest of the team. So it's a really important value for us, because we're in the business of helping grow your business, that learning is actually the key to success here.
Yeah.
So you have to practice what you preach, I guess. But
yeah, that's the thing. For us, this is huge, because firstly, the more we learn, the more we have to teach, and it keeps us at the cutting edge, and it means that we always know as much as we possibly can to help other people, which is our whole game. On top of that, it'd be super hypocritical if we didn't really invest in learning, because we're telling everyone else to do it. So yeah, we really do this. And I think the next point for me is that there's a lot of people, when I say, hey, what learning have you been doing? They say, oh, well, I've just got heaps of experience. School of hard knocks is the best school to go through. And I think that's fine. But learning new stuff really allows you to stand on the shoulders of giants and shortcut that learning process. So, you can do it the easy way, where you do everything, on the hard way, where you leverage the knowledge of other people. So Tony Robbins always said that when you read somebody's book that they've written, you've just consumed 10 years of their life, because it probably took 10 years worth of their knowledge and research and experience to write that great book. So he basically will joke that he's thousands of years old at this point, because he's read all these books.
It's massively important. And like you said, experience is a great teacher, for sure. And I'm not knocking anyone who has experience, but we all know those guys who own businesses who are like, oh, well, back in my day we did it this way, or, oh, well, your business is different to our business, or I'm in a different area, or whatever. They're actually really closed off to learning. But if you do, as you say, stand on the shoulders of giants, you multiply your effectiveness in learning. You can just crunch down that time so quickly. It's massively powerful.
Well, I think the big point I'm saying here is experience is great, but learning is combining the experience of more people than just yourself and consuming it. So basically, it doesn't matter whether you're reading books or you're listening to podcasts or you're watching YouTube videos, whatever it is, or you're just speaking to like-minded people, any of the above, what you're doing is taking your experience and consuming theirs as well. And as a result, it is all experience. It is the school of hard knocks, only you're able to take the best bits from everybody's experience and use it for yourself. So it's a huge shortcut, and it saves you time, money, and stress.
Well,
so
and this is something that, when you think about coaching, which is what we do, we obviously work with business owners, but one of the best things about what we do, and which I'm so proud of and that I love, is that we have this community of hundreds and hundreds of business owners which share their ideas with each other, which multiply their effectiveness. There's no one who hasn't had a problem that you've had and haven't solved it yet, as well. And so you just get access to this kind of massive network of brain power if you're open to learning.
That's it. I know you have a little saying you always say.
I love this.
Learning. Yeah.
I don't know where I got this from, but earning is learning with L plates.
Yeah. 100%.
If you think about that, learning, take the L off, you got earning. So earning is learning with L plates. The learning comes before the earning, always.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, 100%. And I think there's a bunch of ways that if you're open to learning, right?
Yeah. Well, sometimes, you might think you're open to learning, but best way to figure out if you are is to figure out if you're not. And there's the things that happen if you're not. There's that butt face.
Oh, butt face.
Butt face, which is like people say things like, yeah, but, and they've got
and you
like
can see it on the face.
They've puckered up like they've sucked a lemon.
I'm sure you've been talking to somebody one day and you've seen them just itching to go, but, yeah, nah, but, and you can see that look on their face where they're about to say it. Don't make that face.
Yeah, butt face is bad, and that's the people who have already thought about 15 reasons why this won't work in their own head, and they've obviously stopped listening to you about 10 minutes ago. They're just dying to butt in and tell you why this won't work.
That's it.
Butt face costs you money, so get rid of butt face.
The fact is like, if you can think of 15 reasons why it won't work, that's fine. They might all be valid, but what you've just done is shut yourself off to the 15 reasons it might work, and that's just not useful. Instead of saying that won't work, say how would I make that work, and you just completely change the game.
Yeah. The folded arms thing. So if you're talking to someone, or you find yourself folding your arms, which is like that you do that to protect your vital organs.
Yeah.
You're subconsciously shutting off. So be aware of that. Keep an open stance. Notice when you or other people fold your arms, and it's like, oh, actually, I just need to keep an open mind here.
Yeah, totally. And I think, again, like in this case, for me, one of the worst ones for closing off is the whole concept of my business is different. And don't get me wrong, I know there are differences in every business. There's differences in every town. There's differences in every niche. My town's different. My business is different. Okay, sure, but there are definitely similarities. And I think if you're just going to throw that out there straight away that your business is different or you live in a different place, again, what you've just done is closed yourself off to how it might be similar and how you might be able to apply the same learnings that other people have had, because it might not be exactly the same. But there might be an underlying thing that you can learn, and you just tweak it slightly to fit your environment or your business or your town or your clientele, and it can rocket fuel you to the next level. But you have to be open to it. Don't say that. If you say my business is different, reel it back in and ask yourself, how can I make this the same?
Yeah.
So
I mean,
crucial.
learning is a funny thing because there is some stuff that may not be useful right now or whatever, but I look at learning as a little bit, it's like looking for gold nuggets. They appear here and there, but you've got to be open to them. You've got to look for them, otherwise you'll never find them.
Yeah.
Which is huge. Another thing is, maybe this person I'm reading about or talking to doesn't know anything about my trade or my business or whatever. Same thing. Business is business.
That one grinds me.
I mean,
put it this way, Tony, and again, for people listening, imagine if you had an opportunity to spend an afternoon with Bill Gates and pick his brains. Would you do it? You probably would, right? But you're not in the same business as that guy. Do you own Microsoft? Are you now this massive philanthropist, installing toilets in India and looking into how we can use nuclear power? Are you doing that? No, right? You have a completely different business. So he doesn't know anything about your business. He's not a plumber, but would you spend an afternoon with Bill Gates to pick his brains? You would, right?
For sure.
So I just think that's just the the craziest concept ever.
It's another version of butt face, really. Anyway,
100%.
The other thing is that busyness. Busyness is a big problem to learning, and it's funny. The biggest obstacle to people getting help with their business is not money; it's time.
Yeah, totally.
People, time is the non-renewable resource, and learning does take a bit of time. But if you're always thinking about how can I get the next job done, how can I price the next job, how can I keep this client happy, that stuff's always there. Always. Yeah. I guarantee you, to-do list will never end if you own a business. That's just the nature of things. And if you think it will, you're dreaming. You just got to get comfortable with that. It's about prioritizing the learning, because that's how you create a different future.
Yeah, 100%.
That's the key.
But I think the whole thing with this is, again, when you don't have time, it's easy to just, put it off. And I think this really stems from somewhere else, though, which is something we were talking about earlier, right? Like the root of this.
Yeah, there is it seems like learning is a no-brainer and that we should do it. But actually, a lot of people deep down, they may not even realize that this can be quite subconscious. They're actually afraid of learning.
Yeah.
And they're afraid of learning because if they learn something and try something, they may fail. Or they may try to learn something, they may not really understand it as quickly as they'd like or as quickly as some other people would do, and they fear being found out as being stupid.
Yeah.
And this is a big thing, in the trades, plumbing, electrical, painting, glazing, tiling, all the sub-trades, all the service-based businesses. And here's the thing, and this drives me insane. A lot of people in these sectors, in these industries, didn't do particularly well at school. School wasn't for them.
No.
It was just the learning styles didn't suit. And so we've internalized this idea that we're some kind of blue collar, that we're not that smart, we weren't book smart, and we've taken that on the inside, which is utter rubbish. Because
rubbish. Absolutely
smart
rubbish.
Comes in all sorts of forms.
Yeah.
And school only recognises one type of smart.
Well, you want to see someone look stupid, get a rocket scientist or something, and then say, hey, man, you can plumb out this house?
Yeah. That's exactly right.
Stand there like an idiot, right?
Yeah, and we always think what we know is easy, but that's only because we've done it a lot. We've become expert at it. So there is a real fear of failure with learning, and there's a fear of being stupid. It's better just to stay quiet and think people you're a fool than open your mouth and prove that you're a fool.
Yeah.
And people feel that, so they kind of just retreat and they just stay in that safe, comfortable zone of doing what they're familiar with.
Yeah.
Now, learning will push you outside that zone.
And honestly, like, we've probably all experienced this, that phenomenon where you might be in a meeting or something, somebody uses a term or starts talking about something and you think, oh, I don't really know what that is. So you just kind of shut your mouth and hope it comes out. My favorite thing to see is when someone goes, hey, I've got no idea what you're talking about. Could you explain? This happened. Do you remember yesterday we were in a job interview and Cam, one of our coaches, he's talking about something. He goes, blah, 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 and, we have SLAs for this. And somebody had to stop the meeting and say, dude, what's an SLA? And it was funny because actually when everyone started explaining it, we were all thinking different things. We had different, acronyms that we were thinking in our head. So we were all going to be on a completely different page, which was ridiculous. So I think like actually having the courage, and it does take courage to say, hey, I don't understand, or I'm not sure what you're talking about, is a super difficult thing to do. Super difficult. But it allows things to run more smoothly. And it's funny that when you do it, no one laughs. In fact, actually 2 or 3 other people in the meeting probably turn around and go, thank you for asking, because we didn't know either. So it's a really important thing to do.
It's like the meeting that you have with the accountant. For a lot of business owners, if you're listening, you may have had this. You go and sit with your accountant at the end of your accounts, and she talks about a bunch of stuff, shareholders' current accounts and dividends and depreciation and blah, 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 EBIT, and you're like, what's that? And you say nothing because you don't want to feel like a fool.
Well, you just go, totally.
I get it.
Yeah, that sounds good.
And then you walk out thinking, well, can you just show me where the money is in the bank account?
Yeah.
But that's a whole nother story. Anyway,
yeah, exactly. You don't ask.
And then sometimes people do commit to learning. They go to a seminar or something, but they just don't get involved, like you say. They're like just concerned about doing that, and they like just don't want to feel stupid. So
what if I ask a silly question? And I'm like, what if you don't?
You'll stay feeling silly.
Yeah. Like honestly, I think the big thing is that for me, I really, really love when I don't understand something, because it means I'm about to learn something. I'm about to be better off. This is great. So like, I think the more you can lean into that, the better. And I know it's hard. And especially for those of you out there that are a little bit more introverted, if you're in a group setting, like this is always going to be difficult for you. But if you can find a way to, be okay with it, it will be beneficial for you.
I agree with you totally. And I think one of the keys to success and something that I really enjoy now is when I am feeling uncomfortable and don't know something, I'm actually celebrating because I know that I'm about to get a breakthrough. I know that there's more money coming, more success, more fun, and more satisfaction. I know that if I just keep pushing on.
That's well, Ray Kroc always said, if you're green, you're growing. So
that's I
think
love
it's an
that.
important thing to keep in the back of your mind, right? Is just like embrace it. Like when I feel green about something, I feel like I got no idea. Man, it's the most exciting time because I know we're about to take off. Like I'm about to access a whole new level I didn't know was there. This is so exciting. And if you can look at it from that perspective, you'll get more out of everything. And I suppose at this point, you're probably just thinking, how do I get started? Maybe you're not doing so much learning. That's fine. Look, for me, there's a bunch of ways. You can do learning through audio. So, tapes, audio books, Audible's great for this, Blinkist, things like that. You can read physical books, you can get coaching, you can do courses. Like, all this is great. And I think, again, you got to find what's right for you. So for me, audiobooks is great because I have a reasonable commute to and from work, so I listen to it in the car. I also find it really, really hard to concentrate, so when I go to the gym, I find I actually get better concentration on listening to my book at the same time as I work out. I also have a better workout. So this works great for me, but you got to find something that works for you.
I love Audible as well because it's net. It's no extra time because time's often an issue. So you're doing stuff, just listen to stuff as you're going along.
Yeah.
Even if you just put 10 minutes aside to read a day, and maybe you're not a great reader, Blinkist is good because it actually summarizes books and gives you like a summary and a page of what the book's about. And often a book, you've read 4 or 5 pages, you've got the guts of the book, and the rest of it's just making up paper, which is fine. So Blinkist is cool.
Yeah.
And smart people, mate. You talked about that.
Oh, smart people are huge. Like, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And like, look, this is not to say forsake your mates. That's not what it is. But I'm like, are you hanging around with people that are smarter than you? Do you have any people that you interact with on a regular basis where you think, man, like that person's light years ahead. They know a bunch of stuff I don't know. Like, make friends like this. Look for mentors. Look for people that, can push you. Because if you're the smartest one in your friend group, then you'll always be the smartest one.
Well,
in your
you're dragging their average up, and your average is going down.
That's right.
And get involved with people who are successful in business. You know, if they're in your trade, that's great, or a similar trade, that's great. Yeah. But even if they're in another type of business, they'll teach you stuff. And here's the thing: as the business gets bigger, the management and the leadership stuff becomes more important, which is what we spend a lot of time on our clients with. And that stuff does apply to different businesses as well.
But again, like, keep your mates as your mates for sure. But like, maybe you can join an association or a mastermind or, a BNI group or something, some kind of like environment where you can go and mix with other like-minded people that are interested in learning, that know some stuff you don't know. And again, if you look at like things like coaching or courses, like if you're the type of person that needs a lot of help and needs to be, stepped through something, coaching is great. If you're the kind of person that wants to be left to it, maybe you do a course that's all online, or maybe you find something that has a mixture of all. Like, for example, our $1 Million Tradie program has mixtures of all of these aspects. Some of it's coaching, directly. Some of it's more like online learning. Some of it's, community based. So we try to hit those different notes, but I think the key is finding what's right for you. Because trying to force the square peg in the round hole is often where people get off track with this, right?
It is. And what you can do is, this is important. And if you're listening today, I want you to understand that this is critical to your future success in business and in other areas of your life if you want to get better at them. You just got to learn more. It's earning with L plates on.
That's it.
But just block in a small amount of time each week, even if it's just half an hour. Rather than mucking around watching TV at night when you're tired, just watch a couple of YouTube videos.
Yeah, 100%.
On business. Jump onto our YouTube channel or another business channel and you'll get some great information. And what it does, once you start this process, it lights a fire within you that's really hard to put out. You get excited by it. And then it kind of takes on its own energy, which is super, super exciting.
Yeah, 100%. Well, I think we made the point. Should we land this plane?
Let's do it. Active learning is absolutely crucial to your business success, as learning allows you to continually improve your business and it allows you to stand on the shoulders of giants and learn from other people. So make some time every week for your learning and you'll see your business and your life change. I guarantee it. Thanks heaps for listening. We'll catch you all again next time.
See you later.